Lies my parents told me I would never tell my kids. Yes, a lot of African parents lie a lot. Yes, our parents were not lying because they wanted to be bad. They were lying to protect us. In this part of the world called Africa, parents actually feel that when you lie to children, it's a way of protecting them to abstain. A lot of parents forget that children still grow up. Almost everything our parents asked us not to do, we did them at the end of the day. My name is Okoro Blessing in Kiroka, and I'm popularly known as Blessing CEO, the number one relationship therapist in Africa. I love to talk about the topics that people don't like to talk about. That's my niche. So I'm going to be talking about the lies our parents told us, especially in Africa here. African parents can lie you. Number one lie. Don't go close to a man. If you go close to a man, you're going to get pregnant. Oh, that time when the man say hello, about that was how they sent most of us to girls' school, and most of them turned to lesbian. So you see most women creating walls around men because their parents said the moment you just go close to a man, you're going to get pregnant. That's a lie. It is because our parents do not want to teach us about sexual education. In fact, our parents did not even know about sexual education. Who taught them? So they will teach us what their parents have taught them. So people like us now, the Gen Zs, we are exposed to the internet and we can read and we have experience and we have known one or two things, so we know what to teach our children. So the reason why our parents actually lie about that is because they don't want to teach us about sexual education, or they don't even know. They feel that when they teach us, they will spoil us. No, and that is the reason why a lot of young girls and a lot of young guys are spoiled today. Because most of the things our parents did not want to teach us sexually, we learned it from our peers. And those our peers that taught us don't even know anything. And oftentimes, most of the things our parents told us were lies, because when we actually went close to a guy, we realized that we did not get pregnant. We hugged a guy and realized that we did not get pregnant. It was when we actually had sex with a guy. We did not even still get pregnant. Some of us didn't get pregnant because some people were lucky, some people used protection, and some people got pregnant. So there were some people who actually went close to a guy and understood that it's not just having sex with a guy, it's having sex with a guy if you're not using protection. So some people were smart enough to start using protection and they didn't get pregnant. So we realized that our parents were actually lying. And that's the reason why sometimes we don't listen to our parents, we listen to strangers. Because we realize that most of the things our parents actually told us were lies. Because we ended up experimenting it. Trust me, children are very stubborn. Those things you ask them not to do is what they are going to want to try to do. Coconut head like us, we tried a lot of things. Experimental beings. Children are experimental beings, not to talk more of now that the internet have given them so much information. So stop lying to your children when it comes to sexual education. It is better to teach your children consequences before abstinence than telling them to abstain without making them understand consequences. Tell your children about sex. Teach them about sex. Tell them, if you have sex with a man, you're going to get pregnant. These are the protections you are going to use if you decide to do it. Use a condom, these are the pills, and also tell them the effects. The reason why I'm even asking you to abstain, my darling, is because condom is not even safe, right? And this condom could break. The reason why I'm asking you to abstain is because even this contraceptive could damage your womb. There are so many side effects to these things. It is better to just abstain until you get married. Teach these children consequences so that when you are not there and they want to make crazy decisions, you've already given them some sort of protection. A lot of children have misbehaved out of naivety. They don't know. It's just because their parents lied to them. Stop allowing outsiders teach your children, because when your children begin to learn the truth from outsiders, they no longer believe in you. Let your children hear this truth from you first. When they hear the truth from you first, they will honor you. You will see them being open. A lot of us never had the opportunity to speak to our parents because we knew they were going to lie to us. The first one we asked, Mommy, where do babies come out from? They will lie. Mommy, how do a woman get pregnant? They will lie. No, it is better you tell your child, baby girl, baby boy, you're not of age to know, or you just give them a little tip. You don't go deep. But give them the truth so that even when they hear it outside, it's not strange. So that people who are dull will not start to cheat your children. Because oftentimes, our kids get spoiled from their peers. Because no matter how you want to do it, you're going to send your kids to school. There are still some parents that left careless things on their phones. There are still some parents that are careless with condoms. There are still some parents that are careless with sex toys and their iPad and adult movies, and their children saw it and they met your child in school. They will not discuss about it. But if your child is aware, your child will be open up to say, Mommy, this is what we discussed in school today. You don't need to beat the child. You correct the child, my darling. Because this is how it is, because the world is exposed. So, dear parents, can we just stop all these lies, especially when it comes to sex education? Stop lying all those lies. Be open to your parents. Teach them. You are their first teacher. You are their first God after God in heaven. You are the next God. So, it's what you tell them that they take. Stop lying to them so that outsiders will not have so much power over your children. That's what is happening to us today. Almost everything we learned it outside. The ones our parents told us, you get K-leg, think they dance like this. They are not often true. They are not even always true. Especially during sexual education. They too, they lie. Number 2 lie my parents told me that I will never tell my kids. Hellfire. Oh, religion. Oh, hellfire. This hellfire is something a lot of kids have heard, and growing up we know that hellfire is not somewhere close. Why don't you teach them consequences? Hellfire is far. Teach them what can happen to them. How hellfire is when they die. You don't have to teach a child morals and tell them it's until they die. No, tell me what is going to happen to me when I'm alive. Don't tell me what is going to happen to me when I'm dead. Because hellfire, I don't know, it's kind of a myth. To me, in my own opinion, is a myth. Right? So you cannot teach me with hellfire, because when I realize that hellfire is far, then I can do what I want to do. Teach children consequences. Leave hellfire for now. Hellfire is when we die, and I don't think we are dying soon, right? Teach them more of consequences. Instead of telling your child that you're going to go to hellfire when you thief meat. No. Tell them that these are the consequences of stealing. The visual consequences of stealing. You are going to be arrested, you're going to be in cell, you're going to be shot dead, your dreams will be cut short. Oh, sure, you want to be a doctor. When you steal and they catch you, they'll put you in prison and you cannot be a doctor again. Your dream is cut short. It is more visual, it is more realistic. You can even use videos and pictures from the internet to show them. This was a guy that was a doctor. He had a good dream, but he stole and he went to the police station. He's in prison. Look at how he's suffering. Teach them about freedom, because it is only freedom that enables you to become who you want to become. And the moment you do this bad thing, steal, lie, or if you want to use the 10 commandments for your kids, these things that God said we should not do, there are consequences to it. This is how you are going to end up, and your dream will be cut short. It is more visual, it is more realistic, because as they are growing, they will be seeing there is something to back it up. You don't have anything to back up hellfire, but in reality, you have people who have gone to prisons, you have stories of people who have gone to prisons, you have stories of criminals. It's more relatable. Do you understand? So that when they are growing up, that fear, I have a 10-year-old son, and I show my 10-year-old son crimes, the implications of crime. Don't do this thing. This is the cause. See how this boy, my son was shouting, Jesus. I'll say, yes, so this is how it is. So there was a day I was showing him something about prison. He was like, Mommy, prison. I say, yes. When you enter prison, you'll be shooting inside Pangolo. You won't have the luxury of going to flush, watching cartoon and doing all these things. You'll be locked up in a room. One day I had to show my son what prison was like. He did something wrong and I locked him in a dark room. I disconnected the light from his room. He was in the dark for close to 7 hours. And when he came out, I told him that is what prison is like. This one is that you are even in a fine room. I imprisoned you out of love. But when you commit crime, the prison will not be love, because you even have people that will be beating you inside cell, because you have people who want to intimidate you. You say, I said yes. And it is real. When he grows up, he will see that his mother did not lie to him. Let's kind of leave hellfire. Hellfire is too far. And that's the reason why a lot of children misbehave, because they grow up and understand that there's no hell after all. There's no hell, and I'm not dying anytime soon. Yeah. So let's learn to tell them the truth. Let's teach our children more of consequences than this hellfire drama Christian. Like I said, I don't blame a lot of parents, because it's what your parents taught you they're going to teach your children. So read more. When you teach people consequences, they abstain. The problem with our parents is that they want to tell us not to do so many things, but they don't want to tell us why we should not do them. Your parents will tell you, don't touch this brush. And you tell your parents, Mommy, why should I not touch the brush? Shut up! You go to hellfire! Shut up! Don't ask me questions! Obey before complain! No, it doesn't work that way. You have to tell me why I shouldn't touch the brush. This brush is harmful. This is the reason why I don't want you to touch it. It's harmful to you. Blah, 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 blah. I will not touch it. Do you understand? You don't know how to use this brush. Don't worry. Keep the brush. When I come back, I will teach you. What's the lie for? The lie, and the lie the parents are lying are unnecessary lie. I know you're trying to protect your kids, but don't protect them with lie. Why am I saying so? The internet is open. Then our parents could lie and get away with it. It took us a while before we start to realize that they were lying. It took us a while, 10 years, 20 years. But now your children are exposed to the internet. Yes, it's now a global market. They can read up anything on the internet. So don't be lying. If you don't know and your parents ask you of something, read about it. Google is your friend. Google it. Tell them. You might not tell them the depth part of sexuality or anything they ask you, but just give them, the highlights of it as they begin to grow, because sometimes you can't tell a child everything because they might not even understand. So give them the upper part, but let it be, a top layer of the truth, not lie. Don't lie. Leave this hellfire thing. I know most of us are very religious and we grew from Christian homes and blah 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 blah. Let's be very honest. Those of you who used to talk about hellfire and blah blah blah, all those things your parents said that you go to hellfire for, are you not doing them? Okay. Even if you stopped, did you not do them? Yeah, you did it now. Did you go to hellfire? Children are going to grow up and understand that you can beg God for forgiveness. I grew up to understand that I can actually do all those things my parents said I should not do that will take me to hellfire. And I'll go and say, Lord God, forgive me because I'm your child. I understood that I can beg God. But my parents did not tell me that when I commit something bad, I can beg God. I realized that one. So I found a strategy to sin. You see? But if they had taught me consequences, trust me, there were some things I did in my life that I wouldn't have done. But they kept saying, hellfire. If you leave your marriage, hellfire. You can imagine when my parents were telling me that if your husband is beating you and you leave your marriage, you go to hellfire. At some point, when my ex-husband was bullying me, I was going through domestic violence. I told him, if it's hellfire that I will go to if I should leave you, we move to hell. I am ready to get burnt. Hellfire, burn me. Because this one you are doing is hellfire on earth. Yeah? Number 3 lie. Our parents told us that I'm not going to tell my kids. Education is what put food on the table. Mommy, that's a lie. Education does not put food on the table. Education just exposes you to opportunity. It does not put food on the table. A lot of us that are educated don't go kill us. You will go school far. Education does not put food on the table. Education just creates opportunity for you. What is opportunity? In case something fall out, do you understand? You will be available. You get, but education does not put food on the table. That lie. A lot of parents are lying to their children, and these days children are beginning to understand that education does not put food on the table. That's why you see a lot of children dropping out of school. Education does not put food on the table. What put food on the table for you is your passion, is your vision, is your zest. Because a lot of children have gone to school and they came out as nothing. We have a lot of graduates loitering around this, especially in this part of the world called Africa, where our government don't even remember the youth. We are suffering. We are hoping that one day God is going to give us a very good president that is going to remember the youth. But education does not put food on the table. You have to go to school for opportunity. In case opportunity comes, there are positions that come in. They will not say, it's because you did not go to school. It has nothing to do with putting food on the table. Putting food on the table is your strength and God's grace and how you want to hustle, your talent. In fact, these days, talent even put food on the table more than education. Yes, because people are going to pay you for the things that you know. Education just exposes you, pass through school, pass through you. No food there for table. You go hustle the food for the table. It's not education, okay? Because sometimes you can be educated and still be an illiterate. It's not going to school, it's what you learn from school. So we need to change that mindset and telling our children that education, if you want them to go to school, tell them you're going to school not because it's going to put food, just because in case opportunity comes by, you will not be denied that opportunity just because you didn't go to school. So just go to school, collect the certificate, have it, and still hustle. Because some children are frustrated today because you told them that is when they go and spend 4 years or 5 years or 7 years in the university, they'll become rich. And they went to the university, we've gone for NYC, and we are out, and there's nothing. So you see a lot of young men and young guys frustrated on the streets. Because if I had used that 7 years now to do something more, trust me. Because if our parents had told us the truth far back then, we would have started doing some certain things in school just like we're doing right now. Because right now, if you see the young people, they are going to school and they are working and they are doing other things. Some people are going to school, they are drawing. Some people are going to school, they are learning makeup, they are learning how to do hair, they are learning how to do other things. It's because these days we have realized that education does not put food on the table. We are going to school, but we are still doing other things. But far back then, a lot of people came out and they are frustrated because you just told us to be going to school. But now we now know that education does not put food on the table. So we are going to school and we are doing other things so that when we come out of school, we go see food chop. So let's stop these lies and tell our children the honest truths about life so that they don't come out and they are devastated and demoralized. Yes. Because oftentimes it is the lie our parents told us that made us come out of school and we are like, I was not informed. They did not tell me these parts. Do you understand? So as parents out there, we need to unlearn and relearn. Like I said from the beginning, I don't blame most of you because you cannot give what you don't have. Some of you are not aware. You are only giving what your parents taught you. And that's why people like us, we are here to educate you. And that's why we have Google. That's why we have a lot of materials on the internet. Read up. Don't just stick to the things that your parents told you. Because what your parents told you is not working. In fact, a lot of us are suffering today because we are still using the format and the methods of what our parents told us. And it's no longer working. It's like using a typewriter right now when everything is soft touch. You'll be finding it hard. It will look as if you're not progressing. When you're using typewriter and I'm using soft touch, it will look as if I'm better than you. No, the difference is that I have upgraded and you're still backward. So some of you are still struggling with parenting because you're still backward. You're still using those things your parents taught you. I'm not saying what your parents taught you is bad. No, your parents only taught you what they knew. So you need to upgrade your thinking, and that's where I say unlearn and relearn. Read more because our children are getting exposed, things are changing, life is evolving. Because when you don't teach them this thing, they're going to find life very, very difficult. A lot of people are still struggling based on all those religion things you told them, all those things that your parents told you. Some of them are still struggling because of all those cultural things you told them. It has to be this. If you don't marry Igbo, you don't go progress. If you don't marry, all those things that our parents taught us. No, it has evolved. You can marry from anywhere. Life has evolved. We've grown our thinking beyond just cultures, religion, and tradition. There are more we can offer and we can explore it. And parents are also one of the reasons why a lot of children are so afraid to come out of their shell. A lot of children are so afraid to be innovative. You see other children doing well. You're wondering why are they doing well and my own child is not doing well. It's because of the things that they know. A lot of your kids don't know so much, so they're afraid. They're inside a bottle. But some of us, coconut head. Even the one our parents taught us, the one we learned, the one we saw, we joined everything together and we went to school. We decided to drop some certain things. We opened up our minds to learn. And that's what I'm teaching you in this video. If you're a parent or you're a parent yet to be and you're watching this, teach your children. Stop lying to them. It is the lies that we tell our children that is beginning to affect every one of them. All these misbehaviors, damage, it's just lie. Enough of the lies. We know. Let me tell you, we are very smart. Young children are smarter than old people. We get sense. Our adults here, we know. We are just asking you questions just to confirm what we know. So don't think that we are asking you the question because we don't know. We know. We just want to confirm if you're going to lie to us. Sometimes we as young children can even educate the older ones. Yes, because we read more and we're more exposed. I love you guys and thank you so much for watching my video. I'm going to bring you more interesting, intellectual, educating content on this page. So subscribe and stick to my page. Yes, that's an order. Sorry, it's not an order. Begging.